Red Chicken cooking channel. We've been gone for a long time, over a year since we've done anything. I'm sorry about that, but life gets in the way. I want to introduce you to my new buddy. No, I'm only kidding. It's a dead crow, I think. Anyways, today we're having chicken fettuccine Alfredo for supper, and thought I would just show you how I make it. It's something that a lot of people love to order in a restaurant, so I'm just going to cut up all this chicken and get it ready to be browned in the frying pan and show you how I do it for supper. Okay? So we're just going to show you how we do it, and we'll get back as we go along here, okay? See, this is how much chicken that I use. I cut that all up into squares so you got an idea of what I did. And then I just grab myself a bag and I empty this into there, little by little. And I shake it up good so that it's all coated. And it tells you in the recipe what's in here, but it's just flour, salt and pepper, and some Italian seasoning. And then you go over and you heat up your frying pan. So you just get that nice and hot, and then you add some butter and garlic oil, and you saute the meat in there until it's thoroughly cooked and browned. And what I do then is I set it aside in a dish or on a plate for later so that I can put it on top of the sauce when I go to serve the fettuccine. So, and then once that is taken out of there, I'll show you. I'm going to make the sauce in the same pan because it gives you all the flavor that you get from browning the chicken in it. Just showing you how I, stir up the meat so it cooks evenly all the way around. Once it's done, I'll be putting it into a Pyrex glass dish and putting it in the oven to keep warm until I use it again. I just put it in about 170 degrees to keep it warm. And it looks like our pot of water is now boiling as well for the noodles, so I'm going to add those to the water. And I'm also going to turn on that oven too so I don't forget. Put it at 170 degrees and then we'll just add these to the water. And over on the other counter is the ingredients for the sauce, and I'm just showing you how I cut up the garlic really fine. When it says minced garlic, that's how I'm going to do it for the sauce. And just salt and pepper and a little bit of mozza. I'm going to use mozza as an experiment today because I've used the Parmesan cheese before, and I just wanted to try mozza and see what it was like. See if there's much of a difference. And that's how I put the fettuccine noodles in. And so all we have to do now is wait for the chicken to fully cook. I always stir the noodles around so we don't end up with them all clinging together. And once these are cooked enough, we are going to just make the sauce in the same pan because it gives an added flavor to it. And it looks to me like we're a little low on oil here, and to me it looks like we need to add a little bit more oil because it's starting to stick. There we go. Here we are back again showing you the nicely browned pieces of chicken. And also the noodles are coming along really well. Give them a bit of a stir here. I like them to be a little bit softer than al dente. A lot of people like them that way, but I like them soft myself. And so I'm going to just remove this from the pan. As you can see, they're all nicely cooked right through and nice and crisp on the outside. And if you wanted to, you could stir them into the sauce, but I prefer to just put them on top when it's all done. Just set that for a minute. I'm going to turn this down because I'm going to do the sauce, and I need it turned down a bit. So while we're making the sauce, we're going to put this in the oven to keep warm. It's all completely cooked. And I am going to start on the sauce in a minute here. We've already added the minced garlic to the frying pan, and we also need to add, it says a 1/4 cup of butter, but the first recipe I had actually said a 1/2 cup of butter, and I thought that was a bit excessive. So I haven't really measured here, but I'm just going to add most of what is left of this into it. To me, that looks like it's, well, we'll just use the whole thing because that's about a 1/2 cup. At today's butter prices, this isn't cheap. And just get it cooking like that. There, that uses that up. And I need a wooden spoon now to stir it. A lot of people like a whisk, but I prefer a wooden spoon. Now it also calls for a little bit of salt and pepper, and it measures it, but you can pretty well tell what a 1/4 teaspoon is. That's the pepper. I always use freshly ground pepper myself. And we need 3/4 teaspoon of this seasoning, this Italian seasoning. And it says 3/4 teaspoon of garlic powder as well. And I'd say that's plenty because I've already got the garlic in there. And a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. So that would be just a little bit. Maybe that's too salty. I'm going to throw that in the noodles there. Alrighty, so give the noodles another stir to make sure they're not sticking in the pot. Usually doesn't happen when a pot's this big. You got plenty of water for them to move around, so it doesn't normally stick to the bottom. Now my next step is to just add, I'm using coffee cream 18%, but it calls for whipping cream, but this is half the calories, and it tastes very well. And this is 2 cups, pretty well right on, so we'll just use this whole container for our sauce. And then you just stir it up. And as I said, today I'm just going to try using mozzarella cheese instead of Parmesan, because I personally like the taste of the mozzarella better than the Parmesan. It's just a personal preference. I'm just going to see how it turns out. I might go back to using the other afterwards. It looks like I need a pair of scissors here. And it calls for 2 cups of the grated cheese. And this says right on the package that it's 3 cups. So I don't know whether I should put that much in or not. We'll just keep adding until it looks like it's getting thick. I won't even measure. Give it a good stir. I think it needs more. It's not really getting thick. I think I'll just put the whole package in. Maybe this is why I need it Parmesan, because maybe it thickens it better. We may have a thin sauce today. No, it looks like it's thickening up quite nicely here. And just stir it. And then we'll just leave it until the noodles are totally cooked, and we'll spoon it onto our pasta. But I'm thinking probably the Parmesan cheese would be better because it did get quite a bit thicker, but that's not really that bad. You don't want it too thick either. And as it cooks a little bit and sits here, it will probably get a little bit thicker as well. So that is how you make chicken fettuccine Alfredo. And I will show you a shot of it when it's served up on the plates. We're back now. The noodles are finally cooked. It took a long time to get them done. And so I'm just going to show you how we serve this up. I'm going to just drain the noodles off here. Whoops. Would help if I didn't drop the pot holder. Now I got my colander already set up in the sink here. And the trick is to pour it so that all the noodles go in there. Which isn't always that easy, but looks like it's going to work. There we go. Pot's empty. And now I usually run cold water over this to kind of wash the starch out. And then once I've done that and rinsed all the starch out, I then rinse it again with really hot water so it's ready to go. And that's very hot because I've just been running water so it's nice and warm. That way you get all the starch out and it's a lot nicer. That should be good, and I'll let that drain. Now I'll just take I have my chicken already right here to go, and I'll get the sauce. It thickened up really nice. So everything's ready to assemble. As you can see, it's nice and thick. So to serve it, you just get your noodles on a plate. Like that. Then I use my soup ladle and just pour some sauce on. Like that. And then the next step is just to top it with the chicken pieces. And if you like, you could also put mushrooms in this. I personally really like mushrooms in it, but the other people in this house don't, and my husband's allergic. So there you go. That's homemade chicken fettuccine ready to go. Hope you've enjoyed this video. And if you did, like and subscribe for more. Thank you.